When Michael Jordan walked into his kitchen at 6:47 in the morning, he was not ready for what he saw. Standing at his pantry, with her back to him and her hands moving fast and quiet, was Loretta, the woman who had been cleaning his mansion for 4 months. She was slipping food into a bag she had hidden inside her cleaning cart. A can of soup, a box of crackers, a small jar of peanut butter. She didn't know he was watching. Michael Jordan has more money than most people can even imagine. When he lives in a 14-room mansion with a kitchen stocked like a restaurant, he could have called the police right then and there. He could have fired her on the spot. He could have had her removed from his home and never thought about her again. And no one would have blamed him. But here is what you need to know about Loretta. She was not stealing because she was greedy. She was not stealing because she didn't care about right and wrong. She was a 54-year-old grandmother raising her 3-year-old grandson named Marcus on the south side of Chicago. She had a daughter named Destiny, who was one step away from a dream she couldn't afford. Some nights dinner was crackers and peanut butter. Not because Loretta didn't work hard enough, but because the numbers simply didn't add up no matter how hard she tried. She watched food get thrown away in that mansion every single week. A whole roasted chicken untouched. A birthday cake, barely eaten. Bread, fruit, leftovers from dinners where no one went hungry. And 3 days before this morning, she had fed her grandson crackers for dinner because she was short until Friday. So she reached into that pantry. Just once, she told herself. Just this once. Now she is standing in that kitchen with a dropped can of soup at her feet and Michael Jordan looking straight at her. And the silence between them is so heavy it has its own weight, as she is waiting to lose everything. She is waiting for the anger, the accusation, the phone call. But Michael Jordan doesn't reach for his phone. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't call Trevor, his assistant. He doesn't call his lawyer. He doesn't call anyone. Instead, he pulls out a stool at the kitchen island, sets down his coffee, looks at her, and says 2 words so quietly she almost doesn't hear them. Just 2 words. When in those 2 words are the beginning of something that will change Loretta's life, and her daughter's life, and her grandson's life, in ways she cannot see yet. What does Michael Jordan say to her? What does he do next? And why? When Loretta finally finds out the full truth of what he has done, does she end up sitting on her kitchen floor, unable to stop crying, with her daughter beside her, and her 3-year-old grandson patting her arm with his small hands? Stay with us. Why don't you watch this video all the way through? Because what happens next is not what anyone expected. And by the end, you may never look at the people around you the same way again. Nobody looked at Loretta Sims. That was not something she said with self-pity. It was just the truth. A fact as plain and steady as the calluses on her hands. In 31 years of cleaning other people's houses, Loretta had learned that she was, to most people, somewhere between furniture and air. Present, useful, easy to forget. She was 54 years old. She had a wide, careful face that showed everything she felt and nothing she meant to say. Her hair, shot through with gray she had stopped fighting 3 years ago, was pulled back tight each morning before the sun came up. She wore the same white sneakers to every job. Good support, no squeaking on marble floors. The marble floors were new. The job at the Jordan estate had come through her supervisor, a small, brisk woman named Diane who ran Sterling Home Services out of a strip mall office in Evanston. Diane had called Loretta on a Thursday afternoon in March. They want someone experienced, Diane had said. Discreet, someone who knows how to be invisible. Loretta had almost laughed. Invisible. That she could do. She had almost not applied. A man like Michael Jordan, she had thought, would want someone younger, someone polished. He's someone who didn't take the 79 bus and bring her own lunch in a Ziploc bag. But Diane had pushed her. You are the best I have, she said. Not kindly, just factually, the way Diane said most things. So Loretta had gone, and she had gotten the job. And for 4 months now, 3 days a week, she had moved through 14 rooms of a life she could not imagine. The high ceilings, the kitchen that was bigger than her whole apartment, with a basketball in the corner of the living room that probably cost more than her monthly electric bill. She lived on the south side, 2 bedrooms, 3rd floor, a window that stuck every winter, and a radiator that clanged like someone was trapped inside it. Her daughter Destiny, 17, sharp, funny, tired in a way a 17-year-old shouldn't be, slept in the second bedroom. Her grandson Marcus, 3 years old, was slept in a crib in Loretta's room because that was where there was space. Destiny's boyfriend had left when Marcus was 6 weeks old. He had sent one text message. It said, "I'm sorry, I can't." Loretta had read the text over Destiny's shoulder. She had said nothing. She had gone into the kitchen, washed the 2 dishes in the sink, dried them, put them away. Then she had moved the crib. That was how Loretta handled things. Quietly, without announcement, one task at a time. And the thing about working in a house like Michael Jordan's was the food. There was so much of it. Loretta had never seen anything like it. The refrigerator stocked like a restaurant, the pantry deep and cool and full, shelves lined with cans and boxes and jars of things and flavors she had never tasted. Each week, a grocery delivery arrived. Each week, some of it went untouched. She had watched Trevor, the young assistant who managed the household, throw away a whole roasted chicken once, ditto untouched, still in its container. She had watched him toss bread, fruit, leftover meals from a dinner party that had maybe 12 people at it. It hurt her to watch. A small, specific hurt she carried in her chest all the way home on the bus. 3 days before everything changed, she had fed Marcus crackers and peanut butter for dinner. Not because she was careless, because she was short until Friday, because the electric bill had come due the same week as the copay for his cough medicine. Because some months the numbers simply did not add up, no matter how carefully she arranged them. Marcus had eaten his crackers without complaint. He was 3. He didn't know what he was missing, but Loretta knew. She stood outside the mansion that evening, waiting for the bus. The sky was a pale, cold pink. A sparrow landed on the sidewalk near her foot, looked at her for a moment, then flew away. She took out her phone. On the screen was a photo, Marcus asleep in his crib. His small fist curled under his chin, his cheek pressed soft against the mattress. She looked at it for a long time. The bus came. She got on. She sat by the window and watched the city move past, block by block, until the neighborhood changed and the houses got smaller and closer together, and the lights came on in windows where people were coming home. She thought about the pantry, the soup cans, the crackers in their neat rows. She told herself, just once, just this once. No one will notice. She did not know, not yet, that someone already had. Michael Jordan woke up at 5:58 a.m., not because of an alarm. He hadn't used an alarm in years. His body simply stopped sleeping at a certain hour, the way old wood settles. Quietly, with no fuss, as if it had been doing this long enough to know the routine. His knees ached first. That was how most mornings began now, with a dull, deep throb in both knees that reminded him, before he was even fully awake, that the body keeps score. 60 years of score. He sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, palms flat on his thighs, breathing through it the way his trainer had taught him 30 years ago. In through the nose. Hold. Out slow. Then he got up, put on his slippers, walked to the kitchen. He made his own coffee. Trevor had offered many times to have it ready by 6. Michael had said no. The coffee was the one thing he still wanted to do himself. There was something about the quiet of the kitchen before anyone else was in it. The hiss of the machine, the smell rising up, the mug warm in his hands. That felt like the only part of the day that was entirely his. He thought about his mother most mornings. Dolores Jordan had died 2 years ago. She had been the loudest, steadiest presence of his life. The woman who had pushed him toward every court he had ever stood on, who had held his face in her hands after losses and championships alike and said the same thing. You did your best. Now do better. She had kept an immaculate kitchen. Even in the small house in Wilmington, when money was tight and the refrigerator was not always full, it was always clean. Wiped down, organized, cared for. She used to say, a clean kitchen is a dignified kitchen, as if dignity was something you could scrub into a surface if you worked at it hard enough. He missed her every day, not in a sharp way anymore, more like a low, constant hum beneath everything else, the way you can still hear music after the song has ended. He had watched the security footage 3 times. The cameras were Trevor's system, 8 of them, motion activated, feeding into a tablet on the kitchen counter that Michael almost never touched. He had no reason to. The house was secure. Nothing ever happened. Until 4 days ago, when Trevor had mentioned offhand in that the pantry motion sensor had logged an unusual pattern on Tuesday mornings. Not a concern, Trevor had said. Probably just the cleaning staff moving things around. Michael had said nothing. That evening, after Trevor left, he had opened the tablet and pulled up the footage himself. He had watched Loretta Sims stand at the pantry with her back to the camera. He had watched her hands move carefully, deliberately. A can of soup, a box of crackers, a small jar of peanut butter. He had watched her tuck them into a canvas bag hidden inside her cleaning cart. He had watched her close the pantry door and stand there for a moment, very still before going back to work. He had watched it 3 times. He had not told Trevor. He had not called his lawyer. He had not called the cleaning agency. He had sat with it for 4 days, and it had sat with him. He picked up the basketball from the corner of the kitchen, and it lived there. Had lived there for years, because he liked having it close. Not to shoot, not anymore, not in the kitchen, just to hold. It fit his hands the way nothing else did, even now, even at 60, even with the ache in his knuckles. It was muscle memory deeper than thought. He turned it slowly in his hands and thought about a boy in Wilmington, North Carolina. A boy who had been cut from the varsity team at 15. A boy who had gone home and cried alone in his room, and then, in the next morning, had gotten up before the sun and gone back to the court. Not because someone made him, because he was hungry. He thought about what hunger felt like. The real kind of not wanting to win, but needing to. The kind that lives in your chest and won't let you sleep. He set the basketball down on the counter. He thought about a woman who took a can of soup and a box of crackers and said nothing to anyone about why. He made a decision. He still did not know exactly, and what it would look like. But the shape of it was there, forming in the back of his mind the way a play forms. Instinct first, detail second. He poured his coffee. He drank it in the quiet kitchen, alone, while the house slept around him and the city outside began, slowly, to wake up. Tomorrow, he thought. Tomorrow I'll talk to her. He didn't know yet that tomorrow would change 2 lives. Loretta woke up at 4:45 a.m. Marcus was coughing. She was out of bed before her eyes were fully open. That was what motherhood did to you, and grandmotherhood did it twice over. Her feet found her slippers in the dark. She crossed the room and put her hand on his forehead before she even turned on the lamp. Warm, not burning. The kind of warm that wasn't an emergency, but wasn't nothing either. She found the children's cough medicine in the bathroom cabinet behind the toothpaste. She shook the bottle, squinted at the label in the low light. It had expired 6 weeks ago. She stood there for a moment, the bottle in one hand, her other hand pressed flat against the doorframe. Then she gave him half a dose anyway, because it was all she had, and she sat on the edge of his crib with her hand on his back until his breathing softened and he went back to sleep. She did not go back to sleep herself. She made oatmeal for breakfast, plain with a little sugar and a spoon of peanut butter stirred in. Marcus's favorite. Or at least the version of favorite that a 3-year-old develops when something is given to him with enough love that he forgets to want anything different. Destiny came out of her room at 7, still in her sleep shirt, her hair loose around her shoulders. She poured herself a glass of water and leaned against the counter the way she always did. Half awake, quiet, not quite ready to be a person yet. "He okay?" she asked, nodding toward Marcus, who was pushing oatmeal around his bowl with great seriousness. "He's fine," Loretta said. "Just a cough." Destiny nodded. She drank her water. She looked at the counter for a moment, then looked at her mother. "I didn't get the pharmacy job." Loretta kept her hands busy rinsing the pot. "When did you find out?" "Last night. I didn't want to say anything." "It's okay, baby." "Mom?" "We'll figure it out," Loretta said. "We always do." Destiny looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded and went back to her room to get dressed, and Loretta stood at the sink with the pot in her hands and the water running cold over her wrists and did not let her face do what it wanted to do. The bus to the Jordan estate took 42 minutes. Loretta sat near the back, her cleaning bag on her lap, her eyes on the window. The city moved past in its Thursday morning way. People at bus stops, a school crossing guard in an orange vest, and a man walking a dog so small it looked like a toy. She thought about the cosmetology school deposit. $400. She had $211 in the jar under her bathroom sink. She had been putting money in it since January. Some weeks it was $20. Some weeks it was $7. September was 4 months away. She did the math the way she always did, in her head quietly, the way you do when the numbers are embarrassing and you don't want anyone to see them. And it wasn't going to be enough, not at this rate. She watched a woman in a yellow coat get off at Wacker Drive and disappear into the morning crowd, and she thought, destiny is smart. Destiny is good with people. Destiny could build something real if someone just gave her the first step. All Loretta needed to give her was $400. $400 felt some mornings like $4 million. At the mansion, she started in the guest bathroom. Always the guest bathroom first, because it was the least personal room, and it let her settle into the work before she had to be anywhere near the family spaces. She moved through the house the way she always did, methodically, quietly. She polished the mirror in the hallway until she could see her whole face in it. She paused there for a moment, the cloth still in her hand, and looked at herself. She looked tired, not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, the other kind. In the kitchen, she wiped down the counters and emptied the trash. At the bottom of the bin, she found the remains of a birthday cake, 3/4 of it untouched, the frosting still fresh, little sugar roses around the edges. She didn't know whose birthday it had been. She put the lid back on the bin and pressed it down. She thought about Marcus's face when she'd given him the crackers for dinner on Monday. The way he had taken one and said, "Thank you, Grandma," with complete sincerity, in and as if crackers were exactly what he had been hoping for, as if the world was exactly as it should be. 3 years old. He didn't know yet, but Loretta knew. She knew the difference between a child who doesn't notice and a child who has learned not to ask. She wasn't going to let Marcus learn not to ask. She took her lunch break on the back step, a half sandwich, an apple, a thermos of coffee she had made at home. The garden stretched out before her, green and tended and very still. She took out her phone and called the pediatric clinic. The woman who answered had a kind voice. She looked up Marcus's file. The next available follow-up slot was in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, Loretta repeated. "I'm sorry," the woman said. "We're very full right now. I can put you on the cancellation list." "Yes," Loretta said. "Please." She hung up and wrote the appointment date on the back of her bus pass with a pen she found at the bottom of her bag. Then she sat for another minute and looked at the garden. The trimmed hedges, the bird feeder, the clean stone path, and felt something move through her chest that she couldn't quite name. It wasn't envy. It was something quieter and more complicated than that. She went back inside. She finished the kitchen last. She wiped down the pantry shelves. She straightened the cans into their neat rows. Her hands slowed as she worked. Her eyes moved over the labels. Soup, beans, tomatoes, crackers. She thought about the expired cough medicine. She thought about the deposit jar under the sink. She thought about the way Destiny had said I didn't want to say anything, as if bad news was something her daughter had learned to carry alone so her mother wouldn't have to. Her hand rested on a can of soup. Just once, she thought. Just this once. She did not know that on the other side of the house, Michael Jordan had set down his coffee mug and was walking toward the hallway. She did not know that tomorrow had already arrived. The can of soup was still in her hand when she heard his footsteps. Not Trevor's quick, purposeful stride, not the light shuffle of anyone else on the staff. These were slower, heavier. The kind of footsteps that belong to a man who has learned over a long life that he doesn't need to hurry to make a room pay attention. Loretta turned. Michael Jordan stood in the kitchen doorway in a gray sweatshirt and dark pants, a coffee mug in one hand, his eyes on her. Not angry, not surprised, just watching, as if he had been expecting to find her exactly here. The can slipped from her fingers. It hit the pantry floor with a sound like a gunshot, a hard, hollow clang that rang through the whole kitchen and then died. Neither of them moved. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticked once, twice, 3 times into the silence. Loretta's mouth opened. No sound came out. she had prepared for this moment? Or in the back of her mind, the way you prepare for things you hope will never happen? A loose, panicked rehearsal of words that now scattered completely. Sorry, I can explain. It won't happen again. I'll pay it back. Please. None of it came. Michael stepped into the kitchen. He set his coffee mug on the counter. He pulled out one of the stools at the island and said very quietly, the two words that undid every defense she had left. Sit down. Not an order, not a threat. So just an invitation so calm it was almost worse than anger. He made her a cup of coffee without asking if she wanted one. She watched him move around the kitchen, his kitchen, worth more than her building, and do this ordinary thing, and she could not make her brain process what was happening. She sat on the stool with her hands folded in her lap and waited for the part where her life came apart. He set the mug in front of her and sat down across the island. He wrapped both hands around his own mug. He looked at her for a moment, not hard, not cold, the way a person looks when they are deciding how to begin something that matters. Then he said, "Are you okay?" 3 words, just 3, and they hit Loretta Sims like a wave hits someone who has been standing in the surf too long, braced for the next one for so many years that they have forgotten what it feels like to simply be asked. Her jaw tightened. She would not cry. But she had not cried in front of another person in 4 years. She was not going to start now in Michael Jordan's kitchen over a can of soup. "I know what I did," she said. Her voice was steady. She was proud of that. "I'm not going to pretend I don't." "I know you know," he said. "That's not what I asked." Outside, a bird called twice from the garden. Then silence. Loretta looked at the coffee mug in front of her. The steam rose from it in a thin, slow curl. And then, not in a rush, not dramatically, but in the halting, careful way of someone unfolding something they have kept folded for a long time, she told him. Marcus, his cough, the expired medicine at the back of the cabinet, destiny, the pharmacy job that didn't come through, the cosmetology deposit sitting at $211 in a jar under the bathroom sink, the crackers and peanut butter dinner, the 6-week wait at the clinic. The math that never added up no matter how carefully she arranged it. She did not say it with self-pity. She said it the way she said most things. Plainly, without decoration, the way you report facts to someone who has asked for them. She kept her hands flat on the counter. She did not look away from him. When she finished, she said, "I know it was wrong. I know that all the way down. I'm not asking you to understand it or excuse it. I'm just telling you the truth since you asked." Michael said nothing for a long moment. He turned his coffee mug slowly in his hands. A quarter turned one way, then back. He was looking at the counter between them, his brow low, thinking. Then he said, "My father grew up in Wallace, North Carolina. One winter when he was 9 years old, his family ate cornmeal mush for 3 weeks straight because there was nothing else in the house. He used to talk about it sometimes, not with bitterness, just as a fact. But he said the worst part wasn't the hunger itself." He paused. He said the worst part was the shame, having to hide how bad things really were, smiling at school like everything was fine, acting like cornmeal mush was exactly what you wanted for dinner. He looked up at her. "Nobody should have to hide hunger," he said. "Nobody. Not a grown woman. Not a 3-year-old boy." Loretta's face broke. Not with noise. Not with drama. Just broke. When the way a face breaks when it has been holding itself together for a very long time, and someone says exactly the thing it needed to hear, and suddenly the holding is too hard to keep doing. Her eyes filled. She pressed her lips together. One tear moved down her cheek. Just one, and she did not wipe it away. She sat with it, the way she sat with most hard things, quietly, without flinching. Michael did not look away. He did not pretend not to see it. He just let her have the moment. Now, the way a person lets another person have something that belongs to them. After a while, he stood up. "Give me a day," he said. Loretta looked up at him. "Am I?" She stopped, started again. "Do I still have a job?" He picked up his coffee mug. He looked at her with an expression she could not read. Not unkind, not soft exactly, but steady, like bedrock. "Come back tomorrow," he said. "Same time." He walked out of the kitchen. His footsteps moved down the hallway and faded. Loretta sat alone at the island for a long time. The coffee went cold in front of her. The bird called again from the garden, and this time it sounded farther away. She did not know if she still had a job. She did not know what "give me a day" meant. She gathered her things, walked out of the mansion, and rode the bus home in complete silence. She did not tell Destiny. She put Marcus to bed, read him the Lion book, and lay awake until well past midnight, staring at the ceiling. Each tomorrow felt like a door she could not see behind. She did not know, could not know, that on the other side of it, something was already being built. That evening, Michael sat at the desk in his study for a long time without turning on the lamp. The room went from gold to gray as the sun went down. He didn't move. He sat with his hands folded on the desk and thought about a woman who told him the truth when she had every reason not to. Who sat straight-backed on that stool and said, "I know it was wrong," all the way down, and didn't ask him for a single thing. People asked Michael Jordan for things every day of his life, had for 40 years. Money, time, endorsements, appearances, signatures, photographs, favors, prayers. He had learned slowly and sometimes painfully to read the shape of a request before it was even spoken. The slight lean forward, the too wide smile, the careful, casual lead-up before the real question arrived. When Loretta Sims had asked him for nothing, she had answered his question honestly and then sat with her hands flat on the counter and waited for whatever came next, with the particular dignity of someone who has been carrying hard things for so long that they no longer need to brace for them. They just carry. He turned on the lamp. He picked up his phone and called Trevor. Trevor Boone was 29 years old and had worked for Michael for 3 years. He was organized, loyal, and very good at his job, which was essentially to translate Michael's decisions into action without asking too many questions. He had learned that Michael did not explain himself more than necessary, and that when he did speak, it was worth listening to carefully. He answered on the second ring. "I need 4 things," Michael said. "Write them down." He heard Trevor reach for something. "Ready. First, Loretta Sims, the housekeeper who comes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Her salary gets increased 40% starting this week. Backdate it 1 month." A pause. Done. What's the second? "I want the name of a cosmetology school on the north side. Good one. A place called Vantage Institute. Look it up. I want to talk to their admissions director tomorrow about a full scholarship. 1 incoming student. Everything covered. Tuition, books, materials. Run it through the private account." Another pause, slightly longer this time. "Okay, third. The grocery order. Starting next week, I want a second order placed every week. Same as ours. Full order, same items. Deliver it to whatever address Loretta gives you. She doesn't need to know where it's coming from right away. Just that it's coming." Trevor was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was careful and even. "And the fourth? Best pediatric clinic on the south side. Find out if they have a sliding scale fund for families who can't afford the full rate. If they do, I want to make a donation. Significant. Anonymous." He paused. "Make sure it's anonymous." "Got it," Trevor said. "Should I let Mrs. Sims know about any of this?" Michael thought about it. About Loretta on the stool. About the 1 tear she hadn't wiped away. "Tell her about the raise," he said. "Let the rest find her." He hung up. He sat for another moment in the lamplight. Then he went to bed, and for the first time in several days, slept without waking. Swedinon. Loretta arrived the next morning convinced it was her last day. She had dressed carefully for it. Her best work clothes, pressed the night before. If she was going to be let go, she was going to be let go with her head up and her collar straight. She had rehearsed the short speech she would give on the bus. "Thank you for the opportunity. I understand completely. No hard feelings." She had said it so many times in her head that the words had gone smooth and flat, like a stone worn down by water. Trevor met her at the service entrance. He was holding an envelope. Her stomach dropped. "Mrs. Sims," he said. He held it out to her. "This is for you, from Mr. Jordan." She took it with both hands. Her name was written on the front in handwriting she didn't recognize. Careful, unhurried, slightly left-leaning. She looked at it for a moment. "He wanted you to read it before you started today," Trevor said. Then he stepped back inside and left her alone on the step. She opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No letterhead, no formality. Just a note, handwritten, the way people used to write things before the world got too fast for it. It said, "Loretta, you told me the truth when you didn't have to. That matters more than you know. You still have this job for as long as you want it. Your raise starts this week. Trevor has the details. On the rest, check your doorstep Saturday morning. No conditions. No explanation needed." MJ Loretta read it once. Then she read it again. She folded it carefully along its original crease and put it back in the envelope, and put the envelope in the inside pocket of her jacket against her chest. She stood on the step for a moment, with her hand pressed flat over it, feeling the slight stiffness of the paper beneath her palm. Then she went inside and got to work. Saturday morning came cold and bright. Loretta was up before Marcus, which almost never happened. She sat at the kitchen table with her coffee and watched the street through the window, the way she sometimes did on mornings when her mind was too full for sleep. A cat crossed the road below. A neighbor's light came on in the building across the way. At 8:15, she heard it. A knock at the door. Solid, unhurried. Not the mail. She opened the door. 2 grocery bags sat on the mat. Full and heavy, handles tied neat. The good cereal, fresh fruit, a whole chicken, uncooked, still cold. 3 kinds of soup. Bread that hadn't been on her table in 2 months. Cough medicine. The right kind, the unexpired kind. The kind she'd been meaning to replace for weeks. Under the handle of the right bag was a folded note. 4 words written in the same left-leaning hand. It said, "Every week. No conditions." She stood in the doorway holding the note. The cold morning air moved past her into the apartment. "Mom?" Destiny appeared in the hallway, sleep rumpled, squinting. "What is that?" "Groceries," Loretta said. Her voice came out strange, thin. Destiny looked at the bags, then at her mother's face. Then she came and picked up both bags without a word and carried them to the kitchen and started putting things away. The cereal in the cabinet, the fruit in the bowl, and the soup on the shelf. And Marcus toddled out in his pajamas and found an orange in the bag and held it up with both hands like a trophy. He tried to bite through the peel. Destiny laughed. Real laughter, sudden and bright, the kind that surprises itself. Loretta laughed too. She was still standing in the hallway with the note in her hand and her coffee going cold on the table. And she laughed in a way she had not laughed in a very long time. From somewhere low and real, the place where relief lives when it finally arrives. She did not know yet about the letter. That afternoon, a courier knocked. The envelope was addressed to Destiny Sims in clean-typed letters. Inside was a letter from Vantage Institute informing her that an anonymous benefactor had covered her full enrollment. Tuition, books, materials, everything. Destiny read it, standing in the kitchen. She read it 3 times. She turned to her mother. "Mom." Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Wait, what is this? What did you do?" Loretta opened her mouth, closed it. She didn't know what to say. She didn't have words for it. For any of it. For the note against her chest and the groceries in the cabinet and the daughter standing in front of her with a letter that meant September was possible now, that the future had just opened a door it had been holding shut. So she sat down. Right there on the kitchen floor, just lowered herself down against the cabinet and sat on the linoleum with her legs out in front of her and her hands in her lap. And she cried, not quietly this time, not with one careful tear. She cried the way a person cries when they have been holding everything together for so long that the holding has become invisible even to themselves. And something finally gives, and the body remembers all at once what it was carrying. Destiny sat down beside her. Their shoulders touched. Marcus patted over on his small feet. He looked at his grandmother's face with the serious, focused attention of a 3-year-old encountering something new. Then he put both of his hands, warm, fat, certain, on her arm and patted it twice. "Grandma okay?" he asked. Destiny pulled him into her lap. Her own eyes were wet. "Yeah, baby," she said softly. "Grandma's okay. Grandma's really okay." On the kitchen floor of a 3rd-floor apartment on the south side of Chicago, the 3 of them stayed like that for a long time. The orange sat on the counter where Marcus had left it. The letter lay face up on the table. Outside, Chicago moved through its Saturday the way it always did, loud and indifferent and enormous. But in that kitchen, everything was still. Everything was enough. 3 months is not a long time. It is 12 weeks. It is 90 mornings. It is the distance between one version of a life and another, if the right thing happens at the right moment, and someone chooses to let it. A lot can change in 3 months. Destiny was 2 weeks into Vantage Institute when she called her mother after her first real client. The woman's name was Patricia. She had come in wanting a trim and left with soft auburn highlights that caught the light when she turned her head. Destiny had done it herself. Mixed the color, still applied it section by section, dried and styled and finished. And when Patricia looked in the mirror, she had touched her own hair with both hands the way people do when they see something they weren't expecting to love. "She cried, Mom," Destiny said on the phone. Her voice was electric, lit from somewhere inside, the way a voice sounds when a person has found the room they were always supposed to be in. She actually cried, happy crying. Well, she said it was the best she'd looked in 10 years. Loretta was on the bus when the call came. She pressed the phone against her ear with both hands and looked out the window and let her daughter's voice fill her all the way up. "I knew," Loretta said. "I always knew you could do this." A small silence. Then Destiny said quietly, "I know you did, Mom." They stayed on the line without talking for a moment, just breathing and just present. The way people do when words have already done everything they can, and what's left is simply being there. Marcus's cough cleared up by the end of October. The pediatric clinic on the south side, the one that had received a large anonymous donation to its sliding scale fund, moved him to the top of the cancellation list. He was seen within a week. The doctor said his lungs were clear and his weight was perfect, and that he was, by every measure, a thriving 3-year-old. Loretta had sat in the plastic chair beside the exam table and listened to those words, thriving, and felt them settle into her chest like something she hadn't known she'd been waiting to hear. He started a toddler program at the community center 2 mornings a week. On his 3rd day, he came home talking about a boy named Theo who had a truck with a broken wheel and had let Marcus hold it anyway. They had been inseparable since. Loretta had met Theo's grandmother, a woman named Bev, at pickup, and they had talked for 20 minutes about nothing in particular and everything that mattered, the way 2 women can when they recognize each other without needing to explain how. Loretta still worked at the Jordan estate, 3 days a week, same routine. Guest bathroom first, then the dining room, the sitting room, the hallway with the mirror she polished until she could see her whole face in it. She looked less tired now. She noticed that herself sometimes, even when she paused at the mirror. Not younger. She wasn't fooling herself about that. Just less worn, less like a person bracing for the next thing. She had never directly thanked Michael. She didn't know how to do it in a way that felt equal to what he had done. And she had learned long ago that trying to match something unmatchable usually only makes it smaller. Instead, one Tuesday in November, she had left a note card on the kitchen counter. She had written 4 lines on it in her careful, upright handwriting. "You didn't have to. You did it anyway. My family is better because of it. Thank you." The next morning, the note card was gone. She didn't ask where it went. She believed he had read it. She still believes that. Michael never mentioned the pantry again. Not to Trevor, not to anyone. It was not a story he told. It was not something he brought up at dinners or used in speeches. He had not done it to be seen doing it. He had done it because a woman sat across from him and told him the truth without asking for anything, and it had seemed simply like the right response to the truth. Some mornings he was in the kitchen early, making his coffee, when Loretta arrived and began her routine. They worked in easy silence, her moving through the room with her cloth and her cart, and him at the counter with his mug, the comfortable quiet of 2 people who have passed through something together and come out the other side. One morning in December, without looking up from his cup, he said, "How's your grandson?" Loretta smiled. She was wiping down the stovetop. She didn't stop what she was doing. "He's good," she said. "He's really, really good." Michael nodded once. "Good," he said. That was all. It was enough. Some things don't need more words than that. Some things are complete in their smallest form. A question, an answer, A nod between two people who know what those words are carrying without having to say it. The grandfather clock ticked in the hallway. The kitchen was warm. Outside, Chicago was doing what Chicago does. Pushing forward, loud and cold and alive, indifferent to the quiet things happening inside its windows. But those quiet things were happening. They always are. There is a woman on your bus right now. Sorry, maybe you have seen her. She sits near the back, her bag on her lap, her eyes on the window. She is wearing good shoes, the kind chosen for support, not style. Her hands are folded. Her face is calm in the way of someone who has learned to keep it that way in public, who saves the rest for when she is alone. You do not know her name. You do not know about the jar under her bathroom sink, or the child with the cough, or the daughter who is quietly carrying more than a daughter should have to carry. You do not know what she is adding up in her head while the city moves past the window. You do not know because you have not asked. Michael Jordan could have fired Loretta Sims. He had every right. The law was on his side, the facts were on his side, and no one would have blamed him. Instead, he asked 3 words. Are you okay? And then he listened. Really listened. Not to find the place where he could respond, but to understand the full weight of what she was carrying. And then quietly, without cameras or credit or any expectation of being thanked, he helped her set some of it down. That is not a small thing. In a world that moves fast and looks away, choosing to stop and truly see another person is one of the bravest, most human things there is. Loretta Sims did not need to be rescued. She was already doing the most remarkable thing, showing up every day for the people she loved without anyone seeing how much it cost her. She just needed to be seen. And when she finally was, when one person paused long enough to look past the uniform and the cleaning cart and the careful, composed face, everything changed. Not because of money, not because of groceries or school letters or clinic donations, though all of those things mattered deeply, because of the 3 words that started it. Are you okay? Ask someone that today. Mean it. Wait for the real answer. You have no idea what it might set in motion. And that is the story of Loretta Sims. A woman who was invisible to the world until one person chose to stop and really see her. Before you go, drop a comment right now and tell us, where are you watching from? We have people joining us from all over the world, and we love knowing who is in this community. If this story moved you even a little, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps this story reach someone out there who really needs to hear it today. And if you believe kindness is worth spreading, subscribe to this channel. Every week we bring you stories that remind us what people are truly capable of when they choose to do the right thing. One more thing. There is a video appearing on your screen right now. Click on it. We think you are going to love it just as much as this one. We will see you there.